Hi, it's me Leo back again with another video. In this video we're going to be having a look at the Nintendo Switch OLED. So it's 2024 and the Switch 2 is supposedly right around the corner, but in this video I'm going to try and give you 10 reasons why you should pick up the Nintendo Switch OLED in 2024. And so hopefully this video will help you decide whether or not you want to pick up one of these Switch OLEDs. And as always, if you do enjoy what you see, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 2,000 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. And we're going to try and aim for 30 likes on this video. Let's get on with it. So the first and probably most obvious reason to pick up a Nintendo Switch OLED is the screen. So I've actually had the chance to play on the original Switch and I own a Switch Lite, so I've had a bit of experience with their screens. But in terms of screens, I was not prepared with how good this screen actually looks. So on paper, you might not actually be that impressed. This is only a 720p 60Hz display, but it's the fact that this is OLED that makes this look so much better than the original Switch and the Switch Lite. This makes every game look more vibrant and colourful. This Switch also has really good viewing angles, which is actually an important factor if you're playing two-player on this Switch. It's also the fact that the screen fills the console a lot better because it is now 7 inches, the bezels are much smaller. It just makes the console as a whole look more modern. And this is something that I noticed. It feels that the screen is a bit closer to the glass. In comparison, on my Switch Lite, it looked like the LCD screen was kind of sunk into the console a little bit more, whereas on this it feels like it's closer to the screen, which is more immersive. So the second reason that I have to consider buying a Switch OLED is the versatility. This is very nice because this console gives you the option to play on a TV, and then if you decide to, you can pick the console up and play portably in bed or outside or wherever you want to play it. So with the original Switch, it used to be the case that if you were playing on an OLED TV and then you decided to pick the console up and play in handheld mode, you would notice a drop in kind of the visual quality, whereas this Nintendo Switch OLED addresses that issue. I've actually found that I like playing a lot of games in handheld mode just because the screen looks really, really good. So my third reason to pick up a Nintendo Switch OLED in 2024 is exclusive games. So this reason may seem quite obvious, but Nintendo have done it very well. They have a lot of exclusive games that are quite nostalgic to a lot of people. So here I've got Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is a game that you can only play on the Nintendo Switch. And there are games such as the new Mario Wonder, Animal Crossing, which you can only play on a Nintendo Switch. So if you already own an Xbox or a PlayStation, then this is a good console to go along with that because it unlocks the ability to play more games. And if you're someone like me that back in the day when you were a child you played the Nintendo Wii and the DS, there are a lot of games on the Nintendo Switch which will be familiar to you. So if you're interested in any of the Nintendo exclusives, that would be a reason to pick up a Nintendo Switch. So my fourth reason to pick up a Nintendo Switch is actually the controllers. So unlike your standard Xbox or PlayStation controller, the Nintendo Switch comes with 2 Joy-Cons. Let me just take these Joy-Cons off. So here you have it. If you buy a Nintendo Switch, it will come with 2 Joy-Cons. Joy-Cons are actually very versatile controllers. So as you could see, you could slide both these Joy-Cons either side of the console and play it pretty much like a Steam Deck. But alternatively, you can easily take these Joy-Cons off of the console and use them handheld. The Switch also comes with this Joy-Con holder, so you can actually slide the Joy-Cons into this controller and play it a little bit like an Xbox or a PlayStation. Another thing you can do with the controller is actually slide it into this grip, and then it's very similar to a Wii remote. So you slide that in and here you have it. So this is basically now just a mini Wii remote. And unlike the Xbox controller, this actually has motion sensors. So for example, if you're playing a game such as Mario Kart, you can actually turn the controller to control the game, which is very nice and very unique. And another great feature about the Nintendo Switch is that there are 2 controllers. So yes, if you want to, you can use both these Joy-Cons to control a single player game, but the Nintendo Switch comes with 2 Joy-Cons, so if you do want to play a 2-player game, you can just give someone one of these Joy-Cons and play a 2-player game, such as Mario Kart. Each person just needs to use one of these Joy-Cons to control the game. So essentially, the Nintendo Switch comes with 2 controllers, which is actually a bargain when you compare it to my Xbox. So my Xbox Series X came with 1 controller, and if I wanted to buy another one, it would cost me £70. Whereas the Nintendo Switch, you're able to play 2-player games straight out of the box. But it is worth mentioning that Joy-Con drift is an issue with the Nintendo Switch, but from my personal experience, I've not had any issues with any Joy-Con drift. For the majority of people, they probably won't experience Joy-Con drift. So my 5th reason to pick up the Nintendo Switch OLED is the storage. So the Nintendo Switch OLED comes with 64 gigabytes of internal storage, and you can expand that with a micro SD card. That is actually double the storage size of the non-OLED Switch. And 64 gigabytes is actually a very nice amount of storage to have for a Switch. So I've actually got Super Mario Wonder, Switch Sports, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Dark Souls, Mario Kart 8, Super Mario 3D World and Fall Guys all installed on this Switch on the internal storage, and I believe I've got about 20 gigabytes left. So in terms of storage, 64 gigabytes is actually a very good amount because you're able to install a handful of games And if I needed to, I could put a micro SD card in, as we have here, into this console and install games onto the console, which is very nice. Games on the Nintendo Switch generally are a lot smaller than games on an Xbox or a PlayStation, and the expansion of storage on the Nintendo Switch is a lot cheaper than on the Xbox, as you can pick up micro SD cards very cheap. So reason 6 to pick up a Nintendo Switch OLED in 2024 is online gaming. So I just want to put it out there, I don't agree that companies charge you to play online, but compared to Xbox Live and PlayStation Online, the Nintendo Switch online service is actually a lot cheaper. So obviously if you play on a PC, then you're an alpha and you get to play for free. But when comparing games consoles, playing online on the Nintendo Switch is actually the cheapest. It'll cost you about £15 for 1 year of Nintendo Online, so it's not actually as much as the Xbox or the PlayStation. I believe the Xbox Live is about £40 or £50 for a year pass. So if you're someone that likes to play online with strangers or friends, then the Nintendo Switch will be the cheapest option. So the 7th reason to pick up a Nintendo Switch OLED is actually the battery life. So I've owned this console for about 2 weeks and I've been very impressed with the battery life. So Nintendo themselves claim up to 9 hours of screen on time, which is actually very impressive, especially with the larger, brighter screen. And honestly, in the last 2 weeks of using this console, I've had no issues whatsoever with the battery life. Obviously, it depends on what game you're playing, but I've had hours of just being able to play on battery life. I'm comparing this to the Nintendo Switch Lite, which I used before. And actually, I prefer the kind of battery and charging system that goes along with a full-size Switch. So this might just be an issue that I have, but I find because this is a full-size docked Nintendo Switch, whenever I finish using it on battery life, I tend to just go and place it in the dock, which charges it. Whereas when I was using the Switch Lite, I would sometimes just put the Switch down and forget to charge it. So whenever I come to use this Switch, it's always been fully charged. And I think that's partly because this console comes with a dock, which kind of encourages you to place it on charge every time you use it. So yeah, that was my 7th reason, which is battery life. Thumbs up from me, it's a very, very good battery life, no complaints there. So my 8th reason for picking up the Nintendo Switch OLED is actually the price. And that might actually be a very surprising reason because it is actually the most expensive Nintendo Switch that's for sale right now. But hear me out. So this cost me about £290 for this Nintendo Switch with the standard white controllers. And if I was to buy the version 2 Nintendo Switch with the LCD screen, that would only be about £40 to £50 cheaper. Now with this only being £40 to £50 more expensive than the standard Switch, I would definitely recommend this over the standard Switch. Now in terms of price, this is actually cheaper than a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X. And if you were to compare what you get in the box, obviously this is a less powerful console than those consoles, but you do actually get a full power games console with a screen, which is something you don't get with the Xbox and the PlayStation. This also comes with 2 controllers, and in the box you get a dock and you get a controller attachment and obviously these wrist straps. For what you get as a whole package, you actually get quite a lot for your money with the Nintendo Switch OLED. So as a whole package, I believe you get more with the Nintendo Switch OLED than an Xbox or a PlayStation because you have to provide a TV for those to play them. Also, as I mentioned, the online service is a lot cheaper on Nintendo's side. So my 9th reason for picking up the Nintendo Switch OLED is actually the small improvements other than the screen that this console has over the original Nintendo Switch. So obviously this has the much improved screen, but there are some subtle improvements with this console over the standard Nintendo Switch. For starters, this is claimed to have better speakers, and the speakers on this console are actually fairly decent for a kind of small portable console. I would say they're comparable to kind of a mid to high-end smartphone, and the speaker grills are either side on the bottom. Another improvement that this console has over the original Nintendo Switch and the V2 is the kickstand. So this has a full-length kickstand as opposed to the small kickstand that's in one corner on the other Switch models. So this is much more sturdy and stable if you want to place this on a table. Also, this kickstand has much more adjustment compared to the original kickstand. And the final improvement to mention is the dock for this Switch comes with Ethernet connectivity. So when this Switch is docked, you're able to connect it to the internet using Ethernet, which is a feature that hasn't been available on previous Switch models. So that'll be a benefit if you play a lot of competitive online games on your Switch. So my 10th and final reason to pick up a Nintendo Switch OLED, this is primarily over a normal Switch, is the colours. So I went quite boring and just got the white Joy-Con Switch, which is the standard OLED colour. But if you're buying a Nintendo Switch OLED, there are a bunch of different colour options. Obviously you can just buy the standard Switch and buy different coloured Joy-Cons. So if you like getting a themed console, then the Nintendo Switch is definitely the way to go. There are more themed options in terms of Switches and even Switch OLEDs. if you were to compare this to the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. So that wraps up this video on 10 reasons to get the Nintendo Switch OLED in 2024. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll get around to answering them. And I would like to hear what your thoughts are on picking up a Nintendo Switch in 2024 when supposedly the Switch 2 should be right around the corner or should be releasing some point this year. I don't know, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if you have enjoyed, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. On the road to 2,000 subscribers, and let's aim for 30 likes on this video, and I will see everyone in my next video. Hopefully you enjoyed. See you later.